Hi everybody. I'm going to do today a practice using the wall. This is mostly a restorative practice. I'm going to do a little bit of mobilization before we do the postures, but only a tiny bit. I'm doing this practice with a few people in mind, so Julie and Leslie and Tony and Dottie. I'm dedicating this one to you. I think you'll like this. But for anybody that feels that they'd like to do a little bit of something, but really know that they mustn't be doing too much on this day, this would be appropriate. It's a really nice way to release your legs and your hips without putting any stress on your back. So if your back is vulnerable and your legs or your hips are quite tight, this is a nice way to go as well. We're going to start laying down with our legs up the wall. Now, coming into this, you want to come in fairly close to the wall, and it will depend a little bit on your mobility. Some of us might want to be a bit further away from the wall, some of us a little bit closer. So you bring yourself as close to the wall as you feel you need to be, or as close to the wall as you can, and then as smoothly as you can, the legs go up, and we use the hands just to spin us around and bring us in. And you might find once you come in that you're a little bit further away from the wall than you'd like to be. So use your elbows and your feet to help you wiggle a little bit closer. Make sure you're not pressing into the back of the head and sort of lifting that way, because you'll bring stress into your neck. So you sort of scooch in until you feel that you're up real close to the wall. And this is where we're going to base our practice today, with the legs up the wall. So make sure that you've got a bit of wall space either side of you, because we'll be going wide. You might want a blanket. And we're going to start with a posture that's very much like Apanasana, but you don't need to hug the legs in towards you today. You can just leave the feet on the wall. And it's like our resting pose. So anytime you need a break, you can bring yourself back into this posture. Make sure that you're aligned. So just have a little glance at the feet. And there's a nice flexion in your hips here. Be sure that you're not lifting your sacrum away from the floor. You need to let that settle all the way down. And again, if you need to move further away from the wall, you can go ahead and move a little bit further away. So we'll just take a few breaths here. So even here, you're releasing around your hips. Maybe you feel some release in your lower back. You can close your eyes and take a few breaths. Good. Okay, now just a little bit of mobilization. We're going to turn out, so we externally rotate a little bit through the feet and the hips, and then we're going to come back in again. Okay, we're going to do that 8 times, nice and slow. So the toes turn out, and then back to parallel, and then turn out again, and back in. Okay, now 6 more. Turn out, and so you're opening your hips, your inner leg lines, And once more. Good. Okay, and then you rest here again for a moment. And then this next part's a little strengthening for the arches and the soles of your feet. So a little bit like a caterpillar, you're walking. We'll do the left foot first so you can see what I'm doing. You're walking your left foot up the wall. So you pull with your toes. So this is the action. Okay, so like a little caterpillar. And you want to do about 8 of these on the way up the wall. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and then straighten that leg all the way up. So one leg is flexed, the other leg is lengthening. And we're thinking about this left foot again. We're going to dorsiflex the foot, so pull the toes towards you. And then plantarflex the foot, so point the toes. Okay, and again for 8, so make sure that you take each movement, so this is dorsiflexion, as far as you can, and then the same with your plantarflexion, try and curl the toes around until you feel the arches, and then you go the other way. And again for roughly 8. Good, okay. And then rotation, now more or less keeping the heel still. We'll go 4 times in each direction. So just nice and slow. Rotate around. Good. And then you can change the direction and go the other way. So you're as precise as you can with those actions. Good. And then just noticing how that feels. And then slowly bringing that left leg back to resting and just noticing if this left side feels a bit different to your right side. And then we just repeat with the right. So it's that sort of caterpillar walking up the wall. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. One for luck. And then extend all the way up. So for those of us with tighter hamstrings, we'll feel that even here there's some release in the back of the leg. Plantarflex and dorsiflex. So again, really slowly, you point your toes, hold it for a moment, just until you feel the work in the arches, and then again, dorsiflex. And even though these are simple movements, try and give them your full attention. And then the rotation again, so really slowly, 4 times, going one way. And then 4 times the other way. And we feel, if we're really mobilizing as much as we can with those rotations, we'll feel a bit of fatigue in the foot, even just doing maybe 4 in each direction. So just come back to your Apanasana here. And take a few nice deep breaths. And then we're going to turn out a little bit further. So heel toe, your feet just a bit wider, and then turn your toes out. So it's like a squat pose. It's like Malasana against the wall. So you're opening your inner leg lines. There's flexion in your hips. Maybe you feel some release into your lower back. Again, make sure you're not lifting your sacrum away from the floor. You need to be maintaining neutral alignment in your spine, letting the sacrum drop down into the floor. Adjust if you need to, further away from the wall, or you can take the feet slightly higher or closer together. Find a comfortable place. You might open up a little bit more after the first few breaths. This is great prep for Malasana if you find Malasana squat pose really difficult. This is a nice way of prepping for that posture. There's by far less stress in your knees in this version because you're not weight bearing in the same way. And I'd just like you to stay here for a few breaths. So let's say about 5 breaths. That will maybe give us a minute or so here. So closing your eyes, breathing slowly, feeling expansion as you inhale. So you'll feel your belly and your ribs opening, expanding. As you exhale, feel that you release away through your back, that your sacrum drops, that your shoulder blades drop. Importantly here, try and keep your attention steady. So you are centered around your breath. You're observing the sensations that move through your body as you breathe. And we try and remain as present as possible. And this is pratyahara. It's withdrawing our senses, letting go of our distractions, even if it's just for a short time. When you're ready to come out of here, just walk in again. So you come back to your resting, your Apanasana variation. And then we're going to take both legs up the wall. Now, if you feel that it's intense for you to be here, you can move a little bit further away. Some of you may be scooching in a little bit closer, so you actually feel the sit bones nestled right in towards the wall. If it's not comfortable underneath your heels, you can always take a bit of padding, a blanket, between your heels and the wall. And we just relax the feet and the legs here. If you feel that your legs want to fall away, you can always use a belt here around your legs to hold them in place so that you can really relax without your feet sliding away from each other. And if you feel really comfortable here, think about maybe opening the shoulders a little as well, so you could spread out the arms or even take the arms up and over the head. And we're taking 5 breaths here again, but certainly you can, in your own practices, stay in these postures for longer. These are great postures if your legs feel fatigued. Long inhale. And long exhale. Again, you're holding your attention steady. Allowing your breath to gather your attention inward. Again, you stay for longer if you feel that you would like to. When you're ready, you return to your basic pose, your resting pose. Maybe bring the arms down and see how you feel here. If you need to roll out for a moment or two, that's okay as well. The practice that you want here is a practice that feels nourishing, that feels kind and loving. So be sure that you're not creating any stress or strain. The next posture is a variation of Baddha Konasana. So we'll be bringing the soles of our feet together and letting our knees drop out to the side. Again, if you feel that you need a bit of padding between your feet and the wall, you can certainly bring a blanket in here. And you just find a place again that is comfortable for you. Make sure you're dropping the sacrum all the way down. You take a few breaths, you lengthen your inhalation. And also your exhalation. You could again open the shoulders, find a place for the arms that is comfortable. You need to maintain energetic alignment, so make sure that you're not putting your arms in a place where they're hanging on tension. An indication that you might be sort of suspended on your tension is if your elbows are lifting away from the floor. You really want to be in a place where the whole of the arm rests down. And if you start to feel any pinching or tingling or numbness in your arms, again, that's an indication that maybe you're sort of restricting the movement of energy around your shoulders. So find the right place. And again, just breathing here. Feel that you breathe into your front. Belly open, ribs open, chest open. Imagine as you exhale that you breathe out through your back. You feel the weight of the body soften down as you exhale. We'll take another 2 or 3 breaths here. These are a very brief visits to each of these postures, like an introduction to these postures. As you build on this, you can stay for longer in each of these poses. You can build up to a few minutes in each. Good. When it's enough, bring the arms back first. Relax any tension or stress from your shoulders. And then slowly bring the legs out of the posture. You might want to take your blanket away. And just come back to your resting phase, your Apanasana variation. And then when you're ready, take the legs all the way up again. And this time we're going to take the legs wide. So go slowly into this so that you don't come into a place that feels too intense too quickly. So just kind of letting the legs slide away, coming into a straddle stretch, like a Upavishta Konasana. That's about as wide as I can go here. but you can keep letting your legs go until you meet your edge, until you feel opening in your inner thighs. And again, we're going to stay for a few breaths. So this is a great way to release your inner leg lines, your hamstrings if they're very tight, your inner thighs, your adductors. And again, because we're this way up, the spine is supported and aligned. So it's a really good way to build up and practice for the seated version of this, of Upavishta Konasana. So let's see if we can stay for 5 breaths again. Really concentrate on expansive inhales. And releasing away through their back body as you exhale. Again, just notice where your mind is and gather your attention back to your breath if you need to. And when it feels like enough, we'll bring the legs back in to our resting posture, our Apanasana. So just sliding back in and seeing how that feels. Good. We're going to take a moment or two to relax. If you feel that you'd like to lay flat on the floor in Shavasana or in semi-supine, you can roll out of here and bring yourself into a place that you're comfortable. If this posture with the legs up feels okay for you, if it feels more restorative than it feels challenging, you could choose to stay here for the next moment or so for your relaxation. You might feel that you want a little padding underneath your heels if you're going to stay here. So you can always put a blanket behind your heels, and you might also feel that you would like a little padding underneath the back of your head. Make sure it's not too much, just maybe enough that you feel comfortable and supported. So again, make sure that you're not letting the tension in your legs pull the sacrum away from the floor. The spine needs to be neutral. And you can relax here. So if you want to cover yourselves over, you can. We'll just take a few breaths. Space between your upper arms, your elbows, and the side ribs. Space between the upper and the lower teeth. Let the eyes soften and close, the forehead, the skin around your eyes relax. And again, feel the back body dropping and releasing with each exhale. Again, softly sigh if you are still feeling any stress or tension. So again, we can stay for as long as we feel we would like to. When you feel that you're ready, take a deep inhalation and a long exhale. You can move your fingers and your toes, move your hands and your feet. You can stretch out your arms and your legs, whether you have your legs up the wall or whether you're flat on the floor. You can just enjoy a bit of a stretch. When you're ready, you bend your knees, draw the knees in towards you. So if you're coming from Shavasana, you'll hug into Uttanasana. If you're still against the wall, you just bring your feet back to the wall. And then just very, very slowly and carefully roll yourself over onto one side. And you might want to take a moment or two there just to see how you feel before you bring yourself slowly up to sitting. And then just noticing how you feel. Taking a breath. Bringing your hands in front of your heart. Taking a bow forward. It can be very tiny, simple, and dropping the chin in towards the chest, or you can take the bow forward a little bit further if you wish. You take a moment to thank your body for your practice. Slowly up when you're ready. Namaste. Thank you.